Alright, good morning everyone. Let's start it up. Alright, last night's session in the US was kind of a non-event. First time in a while we've had such little interest and such little volatility in the market, which hopefully is not totally here to stay, but maybe a little bit welcome to just see some of the intense volatility die down a little bit. We basically we opened up down quite a bit. Obviously pushed down there right at the open. I think S&P futures were down as much as 14, 15 points right there within 10, 15 minutes of the open. And we just started to drift up higher. As we came to the close of our session, we'd already popped up closer to flatline, and from there we moved out to the right. I mean, we traded with very little volatility there after that, and I would say the lowest volatility in as much as 3.5 weeks from that point. And I think, like I said, it's maybe a little bit welcome because it's been so wild and crazy. We will see a return to volatility again, but it would be I think some guys are probably happy to see a little bit of the extreme movements die down a bit. We didn't have a whole lot in terms of earnings in the States yesterday to really drive markets. We did see oil drop below $80 briefly on last night's session. Goldman Sachs coming in, calling for $70 oil by the second quarter of next year, which I think is kind of becoming the consensus now. Also saw Dennis Gartman coming out and saying that he saw oil going all the way down to $10 at some point over the next few years. And yeah, so I think that maybe weighed a little bit on things like Sasol and some of the other energy sectors, energy stocks yesterday. But other than that, not a whole lot going on in U.S. markets. We finally saw a bit of a bounce out of the Hang Seng and out of China. The linking of those markets, I think, and the fact that it hadn't happened yet is really weighed on them for the past maybe 3 to 5 sessions. Finally, yesterday, showing a little bit of a bounce. The rest of Asia down very moderately on maybe just some follow through in the states, but very little to go on. We continue to see the mining stocks suffer. They've been the absolute bane of our market. They've been the dog every single day for since I can almost remember. But other than that, in Asia, not a whole lot happening this morning. Right, corporate action space. We've got a SGL Siboney with its third quarter sales release today. We've got Pfizer before the market in the States, Gilead Sciences, and Facebook after hours, which Facebook is going to be an interesting one. I think that one, and then I think that Facebook could be an interesting one to get the juices flowing, maybe in the tech sector, get some volatility in that space, especially in the social media space. I think it could be a really interesting one. It's obviously the bellwether there, and it's going to be the one that show us kind of lead the market forward as we. After we see those earnings. All right, sorry. In market data today, we have Japanese retail trade numbers, which are a little bit better than expected. We've got import price index out of Germany at 9. We've got durable goods out in the States, as well as consumer confidence and the Richmond Fed manufacturing numbers. All right, let's get into some maps here. The first thing I want to have a look at is the Aussie future. And we showed this yesterday. We showed it on the year chart and how we're kind of making a bit of a bear flag. And it's weird because so not weird, but we had some real volatility yesterday. At the beginning of the day, we spiked up. I think we're up 400 points or something like that in the morning, only to reverse and go down about 300 points and then finish up 150. So we had quite a wild ride in the market. We did briefly drop this 43,000 level, which I think is important in terms of this pattern, in terms of this flag. If we hold below 43,000, like I said, I think we have to start to look bearish a little bit more longer term in the market. But if you look on the same chart, if we look at a 30-minute, you can see here that we really, up to yesterday, we were making a real head and shoulder before yesterday's session, and I would say that we broke out of the top end of that shoulder on an intraday basis, and then we ended up kind of giving it up mid-session. It was, like I said, it's quite wicked action on the future, really dominating our market. But once we bounced up above that, and we broke out from the sort of the shoulder line, I would actually probably look to draw that as more of a horizontal chart. Then we were looking like we were breaking out. We failed it very quickly, only to regain it into the close. So I think this is an interesting little setup. I think it's still in play. I think that if we get above the highs of yesterday, which was 43,500 in the short term, obviously, I think the market could be off to the races, and you're going to have to watch it closely. But that's the level to watch. And then, like I said, I think if we get back below 43,000 on the downside, then we could be turning down. To me, the market's incredibly unpredictable right now. I'm finding it very, very difficult to kind of pick a direction on where our next kind of 500 points is going to be on the index. So that's kind of what I would be looking for to give me that heads up. All right. If we look at Sasol actually traded shocking yesterday. That you saw at the end of the day, they've been trading very poorly for days. Really underperformed the market on this bounce, and I think that part of it has to do with maybe yesterday's announcement. We'll have to see the follow through today after the market's had a little bit of time to really absorb and announce that $8 billion spend that they're going to make in the new complex there in Louisiana. And like I said, uh, it's been trading really poorly. It could end up being sell the rumor and then buy the news story if we start to get a bit of a rally today. But we did drop below, the of consolidation and what also looks a little bit like a bear flag. And I'll watch this really closely because we did have some lower calls on the oil last night. Oil did briefly spike below 80, and I think oil stocks have definitely, in the short term, they've gone out of favor a little bit. So let's just watch this one, see how it plays out. ShopRite yesterday obviously had trading statements, really good numbers. It looked like, from what the market was expecting. You can see there's definitely a bit of a level here, around 143-ish. We popped up above that beautifully, obviously, for the first time in over a month. I think that that's significant to say the least. We're obviously bouncing above, kind of all consolidation of this downward move. I really think that we can move up at least to test the 200-day moving average, but probably even higher, maybe to where we were consolidating around in July. So just watch this one today. This could be a great one for a second day play, on the back of those numbers. All right, if we look at BGA is thrown in this massive consolidation here between about 160 and 154. And I mean, you can see there we did get above it about 4 sessions ago, but we failed it. We didn't make a close above it. It hasn't been able to close above 160 since going all the way back to what day was that? The 19th of September. So we've done a full month under 160. In tight consolidation in a 6 rand range. We finally break out above it yesterday. To me that's important. So long as we hold above 160, I think we're very quickly going to make a move up closer to about 167, 168 in BGA. MTN, another one that's been putting in a lot of consolidation down here. Yesterday we talked about that it had closed below the 235 level. We opened above 235 yesterday. We pretty much stayed above it the entire day from there. I think it's very important, obviously, that we've regained that level. And to me, the longer that we can hold this level, the more bullish it is, the more impetus it puts on that level and what it means. So it's definitely looking after yesterday's hold like we can start pushing to the upside if we just hold that for a little bit longer. The last one we're going to look at is Rimgro. Rimgro looks like it's making a nice little inverse head and shoulder here, maybe a little bit weak on the right shoulder, but the neckline up here around 230, I think it's about 238. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, around, call it 238.50, 239. We broke up above that yesterday. We closed nicely above it, even above 240. I think this inverse head and shoulder, I mean, it's got a big target on it. I would say the target is actually up slightly above all-time high. So just watch this one closely. It could have some nice legs left on it on this rim grow. And that's it for today, guys. Good luck out there.